complexities for Newcastle. Is this the second coming? Is this a new way of actually getting Isak into Liverpool? Here's some instant live reaction. I wasn't actually expecting to make this video tonight. It's just going to be a quick instant reaction as to Alexander Isak giving his statement, his voice, after having essentially everyone else speak for him. Let's read out the actual Instagram post that he's put out tonight. I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League Team of the Season for 2024-2025. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. And he's given his voice because, as I said, everyone else has been speaking for him. And a lot of journalists, a lot of people who believe that they're close to the club and close to the player, you know, whoever they are, you know who you are. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. Now, what does that mean? Who is it that gave promises? You know, who is it that is giving the false narrative in Isak's eyes as well? So the reality, and just going on, the reality is that promises were made and that the club has known my position for a long time to now act if these issues are only emerging as misleading. Now, the way that I see that is we've probably heard over the last few weeks is Isak had given Newcastle, had already spoken to Eddie Howe, potentially 2 weeks before the season finished, but also going further back, actually saying to the club before the start of last season, the season that we won the Premier League, that this is going to be my last one with you guys. I do want to move on and push on and look to further hit my career, and that's how I'm seeing those things now. Because he's kept quiet now, him personally, whether he's actually tried to feed you know, other people, it's that's going to be an interesting one to see and hear other people coming out and what's actually going on there. But the last line of that paragraph is really, really interesting. To now act if these issues are only emerging as misleading. So the club, Newcastle, here have known for a long time that this is the position that he wants to take. There's also the situation with Mitchell leaving, the sporting director at Newcastle, leaving in you know, in June. That's not obviously helped. The previous key people at Newcastle hadn't left as well. So there's so many things that are going now. The big thing here is that last paragraph, and I'll read out to you now. So when promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why changes for the best interest of everyone, not just myself. So yeah, okay, it's obviously an interesting one for Newcastle fans and how they feel and what they would expect to see and from their own players. They've had a bit of a rough time. For Alex himself, he's tried to steer the club, because it's a different situation the way I see it compared to Trent, in the sense of this may, you could say, could be manufactured from Isak's point of view, but the fact is Liverpool did bid for the player and gave Newcastle a very, very promising opening offer. Not to say that was the only offer. It's an opening offer. It's part of the negotiation. We all know how football works. People watch this, and people who will have seen a number of transfers over the years. You know, we're seeing with Wissa from Brentford trying to get to Newcastle. Very, very much the same type of situation there, potentially being given false promises, because he said that he probably wanted to leave, and now, you know, their key people left and gone to Tottenham. But there's no difference the way that I see it now. The change here is Liverpool need to make a decision now. Newcastle need to make a decision. The player has kind of put it in Newcastle's court in that sense. I would love to hear from everyone, what the best way for Liverpool to react. Now, I have a personal opinion. I think if I'm Richard Hughes, come the morning, I want to put a bid into Newcastle and say, here's 120 million, let's say, for example, and say this is a very, very good offer. You've obviously got some issues with your player. Go for it. This is a perfect opportunity to rid the player. He's not going to be playing, obviously, against Liverpool on Monday, which is going to be a ferocious atmosphere, I would suspect, and it's going to be a bit of a cauldron for Liverpool to experience, and hopefully they're up for it. But Isak isn't going to be playing that game, so what's kind of stopping them? They need to be able to push on and move on and try to get more the players that they need and secure talent for across the pitch, and I think that's probably what's actually needed here. There's a number of other reports that come out. Essentially, just reading here, Craig Hope and Henry Winter, they've all said the position for Newcastle is that they are not going to be selling. Still, the stance is nothing's changed. They are going to do something there now. Indy Kelly, I always kind of laugh when I kind of mention him, but he has some good contacts, I would suspect. So I would say there's going to be a British transfer record coming in the next few days. Big news kind of broke out, and what we'd expect to see. Newcastle fans, understandably, are reacting. There's a few things here as well. They're kind of getting onto the bandwagon now. So NUFC HQ, they've said Isak was promised a new contract last summer by minority owner Amanda Staveley. That summer is forced to sell her stake at Newcastle. Newly appointed sporting director Paul Mitchell tells Isak he's not getting a new contract. Isak makes no fuss, makes repeated statements and interviews throughout last season, expressing his love for Newcastle, the city, and the fans. He scores 27 goals in all competitions. Proudly celebrates the winning the Carabao Cup, which he does. He did do that. Celebrates helping secure Champions League football for the second time in 3 seasons. Again, brilliant, really, really good for Newcastle and their kind of long-term aspirations. Pre-season starts, Isak joins with the squad and trains on the Austria tour, expresses his delight when the club signed fellow compatriot Anthony Elanga. And people have seen how he responded on social media, on Instagram, liking certain posts about that. Then now this is where it kind of starts getting a little bit ropey for Newcastle and for Isak and Liverpool situation here. So Liverpool then make an informal move for him, and essentially Isak potentially does down tools. This is the opinion of a Newcastle tweet. Liverpool at the same time rival and sign Newcastle's top striker target, Hugo Ekitike, who would have been a suitable replacement. Obviously, Liverpool have to look after their own interests and do so by signing Ekitike, which is just fine and great the way it is. Okay, so Isak then refuses to join the Asia Tour due to an injury. He then kind of trained alone since, tells the club he won't play for them ever again, releases info to the public. I don't believe that. I'm not too sure if that's actually true. Who knows? Considering the Instagram post that he's put out today, reportedly rejects new contract offer from Newcastle. Again, Newcastle kind of desperate to try to keep on to their star man, but acting in a different way they probably should have. Okay, so the next one is makes first public statement after making the PFA Team of the Year. Okay, so this is where the Instagram post is kind of come out. He's accusing the club of broken promises. Change is probably good for everyone. And still no transfer request. So no official transfer request coming in from Isak. Now, from a footballing perspective, Isak has every right not to put in a transfer request. He would expect the clubs to act and agree, and British record and one of the all-time transfer fees for world football. Let it be that. You know, I just wanted to give instant reaction and what I feel is going to be occurring over the next few days. Certainly, it's going to be post Newcastle match on Monday. I would suspect that there's going to be some movement then, and conversation and negotiation will continue. I think Liverpool will probably now look to put further pressure on Newcastle to accept a bid, or at least be accepting of um, of the conversation of letting Isak go. So there's going to be more news, certainly, and we'll try to bring you that as it comes. So yeah, just kind of stick with us. Hopefully you've kind of enjoyed this instant match, kind of instant reaction to this kind of devastating, well, incredible news for anyone that's watching, you know, world football and what it actually means there. So my name's Charlie. I'm glad that you've joined me. Hopefully you've liked this video. Please do like the video, subscribe, so you can get some more instant reactions as news kind of comes in. And, you know, there's going to be more things over the next couple of weeks. So yes, yeah, hopefully, yeah, we'll probably see you soon. And yeah, this has been an interesting one. It's not something I really expected, but we will see how it happens. Until next time, you'll never walk alone.